Alright, welcome back. So in this video I'll be showing you how I make the line graph and the thought process I go through. So you could either have a go at making it yourself and then watch this video and compare how we went, or you could, if you're confident, or you could watch this and then do yours. Totally up to you. So thinking about, I like to start with the y-axis and which is our vertical axis, and decide how big is it going to be and what spacing am I going to use. Now, I think it was country B had something like 64 cases, so our y-axis has to go at least up to 64, and I like to go a bit over that, so I'm going to say we're going to go up to 70 on this side. And look, I could do 1 centimeter represents every 10, but then I would only have a 7 centimeter tall graph, which might get a bit cramped and people might not be able to see it clearly. So I might go with I might count by 5s every 1 centimeter, making instead of 7 centimeters it'll be 14 centimeters. So I might start with that, making sure I start exactly on the, not at the, if I can zoom in on this, I start where the ruler actually starts, not where the actual 0 is there. I don't start right at the top where the ruler starts, because that would be inaccurate. I start right there. So that's, anyway, skill you learned in grade 1, but good to remember. So I'm starting there. Going down 14 centimeters. Do my x-axis here. Might as well go the same, 14, why not? Now here I'm actually going to use my ruler to measure the lines. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70. I'll just put these numbers in on the y-axis. And very important step, I'm going to label this axis so people know what this is measuring. A lot of people forget to do this. It's a very important part. So what are we measuring? We're measuring the number of active COVID-19 cases. Number of active COVID-19 cases. Okay, so we've labeled our x-axis now. Could even do a heading now if you want. Why not? It's an important step that a lot of people skip. So when you're about to do your heading, you got to think, what is this graph showing us? This graph is showing us, well, it's going to be a comparison of COVID-19 cases between countries, isn't it? So that's what I'm going to write my heading as. Between countries. Alright, and it is the 15th, 5th. This is the date for me, not of me recording the video, not your date, so make sure you get that right. Alright, so that's where we are so far. Down here, we need days since outbreak started. How about that? And let's see if I can put this down. We want to evenly space out the days as well, of course. We've got 4 days to spread out. That can stay there this time. If I went might do it every 2 centimeters, why not? So day 1 can be there. Or maybe can I do 3? Oh, I've already done 2 there, so I will stick with that. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Okay, so now we've got our graph ready to go. We just need to put in our actual lines. So we're going to pick 3 different colors for the 3 different countries. So I'm going to have dark blue for country A. Try and pick colors that are quite different so they can't be confused. Some graphs you see like have a light blue and then a slightly different shade of light blue, and the reader is left wondering, hang on, which one am I looking at here? And I'll do orange for country C to sharpen these. All right, so where we might make my little key, my little legend up here. Country A, country B, and country C. Country A can be blue. Country B can be green. Country C can be orange. All right, so now let's do one country at a time to populate our graph. So country A, day 1 had 1 case. So I'm going to do this in, well, I would suggest do it in grey lead. And then we can go over it in blue later once we're sure we're right. So day 1, country A had 1 case. Now here's 5 cases. So 1 case is going to be pretty much here. That's in fact where all the countries are going to start, with their 1 case there on day 1. On day 2, country A has 2 cases. So looking at that, might have even been a good idea for me to mark out little lines in between there, so you can go, say, 1, 2, 3, 4. Day 3, they have 4 cases, so that would be just below the 5 there. So if there's the 5, actually be just below that. And oh my goodness. And on day 4 they had 8 cases, so I'm going to sort of go across to just below the 10 here. Well, actually that blue line is pretty much where the 8 would be, so I know I can just put it on that line there. Okay, and then I decided country A was going to be blue, so we are going to join this in blue like that, and you can see straight away that the number of cases is rising. Okay, country A done, country B now. Country B. Okay, so there was all our working out to work out how many active cases. Of course, on day 1, they have 1 case. On day 2, they have 4 cases, then 16, then 64. So 1, 4, 16, 64. See if you can remember that. So you're going to do it in grey lead first. Make sure you get it right. So 4 is going to be, 1 is still there, the dot's already there from last country. 4 is going to be just shy of 5 here. We had 1, 4, 16, and then 64, didn't we? So 16 will be just above 15 on this blue line here. And on day 4, we had 64 cases. 65 is on the blue line, so 64 would be just a smidge lower than that. There you go, so we've plotted our points. Country B was represented in green. And we can see at a glance the number of cases is skyrocketing in that country that is not doing any social distancing. After 4 days, already 64 cases, and yeah, if you're interested, go keep figuring out how many cases on day 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way, maybe the first 2 weeks, first 14 days. The numbers might really shock you how fast the number of cases can grow. Then of course we had final country, country C, went into full lockdown as soon as the person with the virus arrived, and managed to actually keep the cases at 1 the whole time. So we can one, 1, 1, 1. Using orange for this country. That country is staying flat, staying at 1 case. Unless the fella all locked up in his room decides to go to the shops, then we might see a situation like that start to happen. So there we have it. There's the graph. Now you'll have some questions to answer on that. Hope yours turned out looking similar. If you did different measurements up the side or across the bottom, that's fine. What's important is that your dots are accurately placed, that they're connected with the right color lines according to your key, that you have a heading, you have a explanation of what these numbers actually are counting and what this means here. So someone can come along not knowing anything about the research we did and just read this graph, and they can make their own conclusions about which is the best form of, well, what's the best response for a country to take when is presented with a pandemic. Okay, I hope that helped. Bye.